on this Tuesday, the 19th day of August. If by some chance you haven't figured it out, it's still hot out there, and that's still affecting the volume at the auctions around the state this week. Most of the barns very light. We did have a few stick-out sales at some of the barns today, and they were some head turners. Unionville Livestock Market, they had 4 loads of those Rockin' R steers, heavy 8 weights today, weighing from 858 to 873, and they sold from 353.60 to 357. Another load of 649-pound steers brought 428, and then a load of 934-pound steers at Unionville sold at 339. Kingsville Livestock Auction, they sold 28 head of 628-pound steers at 429, had a full load of 724-pound steers at 380.50, and then a few stick-out sales on the heifer side at Kingsville today. A full load of 628-pound heifers brought 401, had a load of 744-pound heifers. They were tagged as thin. They sold at 369. And then 29 head of 791-pound heifers tagged as replacements at $350. Box beef cutout values, choice was up $2.96 today, closing at $407.20. Select up $262 at $379.76. Those values based on 103 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds. The choice select spread at $27.44. Negotiated feedlot trade, still pretty quiet in the feeding regions, less than 300 head so far, most of that outside the 5-state feeding region. Prices so far this week on that very light trade have been in the ranges from last week. Most of the outlooks are expecting prices to be higher this week with the higher futures and the higher cutout values. However, we kind of thought that would be the story last week as well, and we didn't see that really happen all that much, with trade just only slightly higher in the northern plains, and southern plains basically didn't trade hardly anything last week. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer for time to tell how trade this week turns out. Of course, we got the cattle and feed report coming out Friday, and it's possible that trade could wait all the way up until after that report is released, but again, time will tell. The pre-estimates on that cattle and feed report for Friday on feed numbers expected to be at 98.1, placements 91.2%, and marketings at 94.1. Taking a look at the futures markets today on the Mercantile Exchange, August live cattle closed 40 cents lower, 236.32. October was 17 higher, 231.35. December 233.25, down 2. Feeder cattle for August up $1.65, 350.55. September at 352.42, up 150. October 352.30, up 205. Lean hogs for October, 90.15, up 2 cents. December 82.97, down 47. February 85.80, down 45. Taking a look at the grain markets, of course, we got that pro farmer going on this week. This evening, about 8 o'clock, day 2 updates will come. I was watching the Twitter feed today, and it seemed like a lot of Nebraska numbers in many cases were described as disappointing, but then there was other cases where they were extremely impressive. So we'll kind of have to wait till 8 o'clock tonight to get their recap of all the averages for the day from Nebraska and Indiana. Tomorrow morning, they'll start off in Illinois and western Iowa, and we'll get those numbers tomorrow night. Taking a look at the grain bids around the state today, once again on the bean side, we had some basis adjustments for the day. Soybean bids 7 to 27 lower, wheat 4 lower, corn 3 lower. Corn bids in the St. Louis area, 387 to 388, Kansas City at 389. Soybean bids in St. Louis 993 to 995, Kansas City 958. Wheat bids in St. Louis 460 to 471. Taking a look at the Board of Trade, Corn contracts September 379.5 down 3.5, December 403 1/4 down 3 1/4, and March at 420 3/4 down 3.5. Soybeans September was down 7 3/4 at 10.13, November 10.33 3/4 down 7.5, January at 10.53 1/4 down 6 3/4. Wheat contracts September 4 1/4 lower 498.5. December down 3 3/4 at 521 1/4. March at 540.5 down 3.5. Soybean meal for September up $7 a ton today, 287.40. Soybean oil for September 51.68 a hundredweight, down $1.59. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, that's a recap of your markets for today.